2 days off coming up, and got a lot to consider since we only have about 5 or 6 days left here. First consideration is my next 5 videos. I'm just going to take veganism subject by subject and just do an analysis of what it's done for my life. And that way you'll kind of know how the 30 days has set in. Today I want to be a very fun day, and in this very fun day I am going to make a vegan chocolate cake, and I'll walk you through the steps. I googled it yesterday, found a recipe a lot of people rave about. I'm going to make some changes to it because as reading the reviews, there were a couple things that did not work so well, so I'm going to do a little bit of modification, maybe troubleshoot what the reviews said were wrong with it. I hope you enjoy, and let's go make a cake. And here it is, finally, the vegan chocolate cake. What I've done is I've added 1 1/4 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt for your dry ingredients, and then I will mix. Then we mix in 1 cup of warm water, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, and then finally 1 teaspoon of distilled or white apple cider vinegar. Never seen that done. And then mix. I got it off the internet, but it's not giving directions past what the ingredients are, so I'm just kind of using my own common sense. Dry ingredients first, wet ingredients second, and stir, and I'm going to go ahead and beat it until it's nice and fluffy, no lumps. Let me show you the ingredients list. Actually, I'll hold this on for a few seconds so you can actually get a look at it. Now the thing is it doesn't have the normal baking directions on it. Baking instructions. Maybe thinking that everybody knew how to bake a cake, but anyway, we'll go with what we have. Holding it on for a few seconds here. Go ahead, take a screen grab so you can have it too. I'm going to modify this recipe. It says 1/2 cup of sugar, 4 tablespoons of margarine, 2 tablespoons of soy milk, and 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So I am going to try to make what might be like a buttercream frosting, and I'm not going to use the soy milk unless I actually absolutely need to. I'm going to use powdered sugar, and I have a great big huge bag there, and I'm going to add just a tiny bit more cocoa powder, but I won't tell anybody that. So let's see what happens. I've added everything together, and I added a little bit more coconut spread than the margarine calls for, because now I'm going for buttercream. So let's see how creamy we can get it. Okay, now this is a thing of beauty. Look at this frosting. The only difference really from the recipe, being that I did the coconut spread, it says 4 tablespoons of margarine. I probably did a equivalent of about 8 tablespoons of coconut spread. Also, personal choice. Put a little bit more chocolate in there too. I put in 2 heaping tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. Here it is, my chocolate cake, and I will show you the goodness that it is. So the coconut oil was an interesting experiment. It's going to give me something really decent to eat, I know. It's a little bit different though. Let me show you. And there it is, my chocolate cake that I have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for. I'm also going to make a lentil soup, a vegetarian lentil soup. I'm going to follow the traditional recipe, but in place of the sausage that would go in a lentil soup, I'm going to use a vegan sausage meat substitute. I think you'll enjoy this one too. I've done this one before. It turns out well.
And the plus is I will have leftovers.
Traditional lentil soup does have a sausage in it, so I'm replacing that with a vegan sausage. To clean and wash your lentils, and then chop garlic coarsely, half a sweet onion coarsely, basil, and you can use spinach, would be the traditional, but I am going to use a kale that we had the other night for dinner. This is the leftover. I chopped it finely, and it's going to go in the soup. And also the vegan sausage. All together, this should make a wonderful meal. So chop the sausage. Two of these actually will do. Start the beans. Have them anywhere from medium high to high, depending on how your stove runs. Add the onions, add the garlic, and don't add the sausage until about halfway through, since it is a vegan sausage and doesn't quite react the same as regular sausage. So add the onions and garlic as they cook a little bit slower than everything else. They'll get a rich brothy flavor going in your soup. Save most the kale and the sausage until halfway through, and the basil don't put on until the very last, so you can get that wonderful basil flavor going through. So after about an hour cooking, and your beans should be half done by now, that's the best way to gauge it, go ahead and add your greens and also the vegan sausage. Just about done. I have turned off the heat. It's cooked about an hour and a half. It varies by stove, just when the beans are soft. And I am adding basil after it is turned off and it's still boiling. And I'm just going to stir that in and let it develop. And as soon as it cools, we have soup. Salt and pepper to taste. And voila! Kale gives it an interesting taste, not unpleasant. As I said, usually I use spinach, but the kale does make a little bit of a difference in the taste. Enjoy. At long last, I have my cake. The coconut spread did not really react like icing, but it's seeping into the cake, and this is a very good cake. I am happy that I found this recipe. Finally, after 24 days, I'm getting my chocolate fix. There you have it, cake recipe and lentil soup recipe. Hope that gets you through the day.